Hi, welcome to the Just Ask podcast. I'm your host, DorothyAnne. Originally, when I started this show, it was going to be called Stellar Sync. Well, our plans changed and we decided to rebrand and call it Just Ask, where we cover a wide range of topics like motherhood, music, marketing, and even ministry. So glad you're here. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Stellar Sync Podcast. I'm your host, DorothyAnne, and this is the place to find awesome strategies for your music business. I'm so excited to have my guest on today. Her name is Suzy Martinez, aka Zahna, and she's joining us all the way from San Antonio, Texas. Welcome, Suzy.
How are you doing, DorothyAnne? Thank you so much for having me today.
Doing great. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much. It's going to be a good one. First things first, I have to ask you, what is your favorite chocolate or candy?
Oh my gosh, my husband would laugh so hard right now because he knows I'm like a sweet addict. Favorite chocolate, let's go with Hershey's Cookies and Cream. And candy, I like anything sour, like super sour, like Airhead sour candies or like the Sweet Tart sours or something like that. Yeah.
Fun. Hey, did you ever have tear jerkers growing up?
I think so. Yes, I did. Yeah, sorry. That name is
that's
from my
like
childhood.
the king of sour. That's just like you cry, it's so sour.
Yeah, that's sour. It's kind of like a nasty sour though. I'm like, like
it's an acquired taste sour.
I mean, it's good for like one or two, and after that, you're just like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, for sure. You can't have like too many, for sure.
Totally.
All right. Well, you know what? I would love for you to tell us a little bit about the genre of music you produce.
Yeah, so I'm not a producer. I like writing a lot. I usually go to, I outsource my producing for my records, but my genre of music is basically just some hard rock, I'd say. It's got a little bit of metal influence, metalcore influence as well. So I do scream a little bit. It's fun. But yeah, all my lyrics are for the most part faith-based as well. So I kind of fit in like this Christian rock kind of theme.
Cool. Your debut solo album, Red for War, had a pretty impressive launch. The song Underneath hit number 4 on the Billboard's Christian rock charts. That's pretty awesome, girl.
Yeah, that was an awesome win. When I was writing that song, I was like, this is something big. Like, I need to make sure that this goes to the right producer and has the right backing and instrumentals. So it ended up coming out perfect, exactly how I envisioned. And you know what? It's just when you got that song, you talk to your radio promoter and, they'll be honest. They'll be like, this is a hit or this is not a hit. They're pretty knowledgeable about what they can do for your songs. So, you kind of give them a variety and you're like, okay, what about this one? Is this one a hit? Is this a top 5? And they're pretty good with knowing what can be successful because, I mean, that's their job. So when my radio promo lady, she heard it and was like, oh my gosh, I want this song. I'm going to promote this song. And she ended up being right. It ended up being a top 5. And I was super excited because at the time I was an independent artist. So to have your first debut single as a newly formed solo artist to do that was really exciting.
So you pretty much touched on my next question. I was going to ask you, share some of the things that you did to get such great results. It sounded like you said you first got a really good producer to produce a song, and then you got a radio promoter. What else would you say were some of the ingredients to get those results?
I think the song itself was a good theme. I mean, you got to know your market. So for me, that song in particular ended up having a mass appeal because, Christian radio is looking for just the right songs because, they have donors and people that contribute to help their ministry keep going. So you got to be a little bit careful lyrically and make sure that like the lyrics are faith-based, but not like overly cheesy and stuff like that. So it's got to have like the right balance. It really does all boil down to the song. So that is the biggest thing. But also, you know, I just decided that once I became a solo artist, I was really just going to invest in myself and invest in my projects and my product, you know. So a lot of artists, they're just like, oh, let me just do this the cheapest way. Well, that doesn't really help you, because that's not a good reflection of your talent. You need to spend the money and do it right. And thankfully, I had kind of a following from my last band kind of followed me, and there was a little bit of buzz because my band breakup was a little controversial. So I think when I came out with this song, you know, people were really curious about what my new sound was going to be and everything. And I had, thankfully, that following that was, you know, loyal and faithful and was, you know, really promoting my stuff. And there's some awesome diehard Zahna fans out there. So cheers to you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you call them? Like, do you have like a name for your fans?
Sometimes I call them the Unshaken, just because one of my songs, my first song on Red for War is called Unshaken. And
That's so good.
it was, thank you. It was a really big battle cry for me at the time. And it just took a lot of courage to step out and be a solo artist, you know, kind of after all the trauma I went through in music before, and just kind of seeing an ugly side of it. And then at the same time, I was going through a health crisis with my kidneys were failing. And I was at this point where I was like, okay, I'm just so angry. Like, I've got to get this out, and I've got to just tell the world, like, I'm still here. I'm not gonna be silent. And a lot of people resonated with that message that are going through trials and stuff in their life. So I just kind of call them the Unshaken. Yeah.
That's cool. So give us a little breakdown if you don't mind. I don't know, and you can not answer this if you want to. Some people are kind of private about this stuff, but I think it'll really help some of our listeners. Let us know, like, so how much did it cost you to produce underneath, like the song production? How much did it cost for the radio promoter? And then finally, how much did it cost for the music video? Because that music video was stellar. And I think you did a great job on that. So let us know, like, just those costs to give an idea of what people, when you say invest in yourself, you got to like kind of break it down. And this is what this means to invest in yourself. You know, this is how much money you should save to do it.
Yeah, honestly, I can tell you, it depends. Again, I had a lot of connections and people that had kind of known my situation and really wanted to help me. So I got some like stellar rates that it's almost impossible to find that. But I say in the initial step of investment, I think I got a $10,000 loan, and that covered recording, that covered 3 t-shirt designs, about 100 pieces of each design, you know, posters, like kind of like a merch line. It also covered a website, all my like web fees and everything. And then I also had set aside some for duplication of the CD, which I ended up not having to pay because I got signed, and the label kind of took over that. And then initially I had set aside $1,000 for the music video. However, that's actually really, it depends what you want, because every music video is different. Like, you know, of course, if it's more complex, it's going to cost more. You know, for what I wanted, it was a little bit difficult to reach the exact vision I had. And it was kind of a test run. So when I got signed to the label, I, with more money, went back and redid the music video. And so basically I'd say $2,000 per video. You know, and that's approximate. I mean, the other one was a little bit more that I've done. But you know, these are big numbers and they're scary. Again, I was in a little bit of a different place just because I had toured and I kind of had a name out there already with my previous band. But it depends, you know, like if you're a new artist and you really believe in yourself that much and you do take out that money, there's nothing wrong with that if you have confidence. And there's also nothing wrong with doing it a little bit smaller too, if you're just starting out. I think that before I joined my previous band, I recorded a 5-song EP, which ended up getting me a spot in this band because I showed them the product. And that EP was a killer rate. Again, it's really hard to find this rate if you don't know the person well, but I paid like $2,000 for like a 5-song EP. So I don't know, I've just been really fortunate to get really good rates. But something that's high quality and good, you know, it's going to cost. And you just got to decide if that's what you want to do or shop around for producers and who you want to work with.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I think it's important to like get a couple quotes. You don't have to be like turned down by just because a producer is saying, "Well, it's going to cost you $3,000 to make this." You know, you can probably find one for less, or you can maybe have a lesser, named producer, and just a
Yeah,
smaller production. And that's
yeah, or there could be producers that are, trying to get more work at the time. So you could cut a deal. I know a lot of people are out of work right now and they're accepting cheaper projects to work on.
yeah.
There's a lot, it just negotiate, sometimes they like you and they think you're really talented and they want to work with you a lot. So they lower their rate. Again, it just depends. But this is just small numbers compared to like secular industry. Like, I've done some secular radio campaigns and, they're a lot higher than Christian radio. So again, it's a big gamble. Being in the music industry is a big gamble. It's just, do you believe in yourself? Are you actually talented? Do you have the right songs? Image helps a lot too. I'm not going to lie. There's so many factors, it's all just a big gamble, but there are things that you can do that can improve your chances. Some people end up really having really sad stories because they sign a bad record contract and they owe the label hundreds of thousands of dollars that, they didn't have control in who they chose to, basically use. So the label chooses for them and then the bill racks up like crazy and then they're stuck with the debt even though they didn't even make these choices for themselves. So it's kind of hard. Like, you got to be careful. Just because a label offers you something, it doesn't mean it's in your best interest. So again, everything is just a gamble. That label may be able to take you to the next level. It just depends what you sign and agree to.
Yeah, read the fine print for sure. Now, listen, I would love to hear more about your coaching business. I love what you're saying. You have a lot of wisdom at such a young age. Another thing that you do great that I love is that you're super professional. Like, even though you started off as an indie artist, like everything you did from your merch to your logos, all that stuff looks so great and professional. You really are an artist, not just like musically, but you're an artist, like a graphic designer. So I think that's really awesome about you. So these are all things that make you, I think, a great music business coach. So tell us, please, about your coaching business.
Yeah, absolutely. So when the quarantine started, actually consulting has been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'll admit it was kind of just a confidence issue for me because, like, of course there's bigger artists out there. Of course there's people that have done huge, way beyond me things. But again, I've bought a lot of educational courses, but more importantly, I have experience as well. I'm not an entertainment lawyer, but I can tell people what I see and what I analyze in their projects and in their music. I think, being in music is probably the only thing that takes every single one of my talents and puts them to use. So again, it's for me, consulting is awesome because I wish so much that there was somebody that could have just helped me and talked to me and actually coached me in what my best interests could have been. And there have been people along the way that have definitely helped me and given me wisdom. But, at a drop of a hat to just be able, hey, I need an hour of counseling. I need to address all this stuff. Cool, let's set something up. And it works for me because I do travel a lot and it's something that I can do on the road through a Wi-Fi connection. But again, I love helping people and it really, I've signed bad deals. I've done things that have hurt me. I've been in the wrong band. I have had issues with people, and it's just like, I've learned so much through that. I want to help people avoid making the mistakes I did. And also, you're right. I am kind of a graphic designer. So, I'm here to help with looks. I love consulting with image and branding because I know that has propelled me so much as an artist. Never take for granted any of these things that can help propel you and make you stand out because right now there's so much noise in the music industry, and what sets you apart from all these thousands of other artists who are trying to do the same thing as you. you know? So I love consulting, and a lot of my students, they just want help singing, you know, like they're like, yo, I can't do this, my voice gives out, like what do I do? And that's probably my favorite thing to consult about is singing, because I've had professional lessons, and then I've had to actually implement things live on stage in extreme heat and weather. And, you know, it's really hard because when you sing in the studio is completely different how you sing live. When you sing in choir is completely different how you sing in a rock band, you know, and people are focused on these classical training methods that like actually are working against them. So that happened to me, you know, I was like, oh man, you know, earlier in my career, I was really struggling to do certain things that I could do in the studio. I can't do it live. And, you know, I would get my butt kicked in the studios, you know, I'd cry because my producer's pushing me so hard and I just can't do it. And so I've kind of been everywhere, but, throughout so much training and lessons, professional lessons and experience, I've been able to help people really identify and diagnose what problems they're having and help them with the anatomy of singing and actually real techniques that can help them. So it's my biggest passion. I love it.
That is so cool, Zahna. I didn't realize you were also helping with the singing aspect. I thought you were helping more with like music business and image and stuff like that, which I can totally attest to. Like I said, your merch lines and like your album cover is just so, and I'm not a person that gives compliments just to give compliments. Like it takes a lot to impress me, but your album cover, Red for War, was just stunning. And so I know you do really excellent things. But also I would like to attest to like your singing capabilities. The first time I heard you, you were on the stage at the Bible school that we both attended way back when, Christ for the Nations. And I tell you what, like hearing you sing for the first time, everybody's jaws were just like, whoa, how is that big voice, that beautiful voice coming out of that little tiny thing? It was really incredible. Just really gifted singer. But yeah, I think, and I've only come to this conclusion in these years past, like anyone can learn how to sing. Like you don't have to just be born with it. You were probably born with it. But you can learn and you can sharpen that skill of singing if you have like an arsenal of technique, you know what I mean? So I think it's really cool that you're helping people do that.
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned that, because when I was at CFNI, man, I had singing lessons by that time, but man, I've grown a lot. And that's the beauty of singing, is that, you know, and I'm consulting. I have a client right now that we mostly focus on singing in her sessions. And, you know, to hear her before and after,
wow, that's cool.
I'm just like, wow. Like,
do you have them recorded?
You know, I actually shared her, it's on my personal Facebook, but I have shared a video of her singing. There's no visual, it's just black. But like to hear her before and after just in 2 sessions, I'm like, dude, anybody can sing. Yes, they can. And that was actually one of the hardest things for me to actually start when I consulted. I was like, what if I can't help people? Like, what if they're literally tone deaf and I'm like wasting their time and money, yeah. You know? And I was really scared, because I'm like, what if they complain that they're not getting results? It's kind of scary. I don't want to promise something that I can't deliver. But, you know, when the quarantine happened, I was like, look, man, like all your, like my tour got canceled literally while I was in the middle of it. All my Texas dates dropped. I came back and I kind of work at a restaurant on the side just for like extra income, and it's fun and it's flexible for me. And that was shut down too. And I have nothing. And I'm freaking out because rent is due in like a week. And I'm just like, bro. And so it was like, I just woke up one morning. I was like, I'm going to do this. And, you know, I'm sure there's musicians out there that are going to laugh and say, oh, well, what gives you the right to do this and say that you can help people, you know? Because of course there's bigger artists with egos that are threatened or whatever, you know? And I was like, you know what? I don't care. Like, I'm going to try it. It's do or die. Now is the time to do it, if anything, because you have no choice.
Yeah.
And I did it, and the response I got was explosive. And I was like, man, just like, I should have done this a long time ago. There's a lot of people that are signing up for this. This is so cool. And was like, this is the easiest money I've ever made. I just sit and talk about things I know to these people and type up a little analysis for them and their homework on what to do next. It's like the best thing. I love it. But yeah, no, going back to what was the original question? I'm sorry. I'm like,
I don't know. I forgot already. No, I just think it's cool that you're doing that. I mean, you're a Sherpa, you're a guide, you know, and I can totally relate to that. Like, I wish when I was in high school, I wish somebody, you know, like mentored me, because that's essentially what you're doing, is you're mentoring people of how to get to the next step. And a lot of people think like, oh, I'm not this big like artist that has like 1 million people, but it doesn't matter, because first of all, the people that do have 1 million people, they don't have time for that. Like they don't have time to mentor 100 people. They just don't. They're building their own empire and they're creating their stuff. But it's important that like, as just wherever you are, there's someone else that wants to get to where you are at. So
absolutely.
I read recently, or I heard it from my mentor. She said, coach the person that is you before your breakthrough. So you before you are where you're at singing, that person that needs a little bit more encouragement, needs a little bit more refinement, that person that needs to take their merchandise to a better level, you know, get quality products, etc. That's the person that you're coaching. That's the person that you want to, you know, bring up with you and stuff. It's only going to make you a better artist, I think, because, you know, it's the whole, like the struggle of living your dream and doing what you love. So I think it's really, really great what you're doing. Where do you find your inspiration for your songs, for your business? Where do you find that inspiration?
Oh man, just life mostly. Things that happened to me, things that I remember, or past experiences that have really hurt me or inspired joy in me. A lot I also get from the scriptures too. Bible college kid here. There's nothing more than I love than the Bible, and I'm so inspired by it all the time. Underneath was written by a proverb, and just the whole story from front to end of the Bible, you know, from Genesis to Revelations, is just a massive story. And there's so much to pick apart in there. And, you know, there was a time in my life, a season that I was going through, that I really felt like Joseph from the Bible. And, you know, all this stuff had been taken away from me. And I'm like, God, why? All I've ever done is serve you. I was betrayed. I've, you know, going through sickness and illness. And you know what? Like, all that stuff just led to this beautiful promise coming to pass, where my music exploded and my brand exploded. And I realized that everything had happened for a reason. So that's honestly a lot of what Red for War is that time of my life. But God was so faithful to restore everything and give it to me tenfold, you know? And so it just really encouraged me to continue doing this for the Lord, because, you know, if your heart's right, like, how can you go wrong, you know? And just surrendering, because this is a very confusing industry to navigate through. And I just pray for God's will every day, because I'm like, Lord, you're going to promote me when you're ready to, if that is your will. Whatever happens, I just know that the farthest I get, I'm going to help everybody I can to if they are doing this for you, I'm going to help them get to a further level. No matter what, my entire career, I will always help other people if their hearts are sincere and actually doing this for you. You know, and God has been so good to me and promoted me every single time when the time is right. You know, and just life trials are meant to expand the potential we have that God is ready to give us. I always feel like that test is just meant to stretch you to receive all the promise and blessing he's about to give you, you know? And that's just how faithful he is.
That's so good, girl. I love it. I was going to ask you, what's one of your favorite lyrics on a song that you've written, and tell us what it means to you.
Actually, I've been meditating on this song that is actually unreleased right now. It's just in a simple demo form. But it's something that really, I actually wrote it while I was in CFNI. And it reminds me of like when Gabriel came and gave the news to Mary that, you know, she was carrying the Son of God, she sang. and she came out with this song, you know, and during CFNI, I had just finished recording this EP, and it was a dream come true, and the songs were like exactly came out how I wanted to, and they were so good, and I felt this inspiration. I was like, man, like this, it just came over me, and these words just came out of nowhere. I feel it was the Holy Spirit like inspiring me, as it did Mary when she, you know, was grateful to God. But the lyrics, they go like this. It goes, I'll bleed for this now. I'll sing my heart out. I'll take these songs and give them back to you now. To love you fully, that is my destiny. I'll give my last breath. Love is stronger than death. It's stronger than death. And it's just something that has been on my heart for years, because basically I made a promise to God that anything that I was successful in, any song that I ever wrote, would always be dedicated to him. And any gifts or any melody he ever gave me, I would just give it back to him. And, you know, it's really hard because when you're in music, you compare yourself a lot to other people. And you know, your identity gets kind of confused. But with this lyric, when it says, to love you fully, that is my destiny, it just puts in a perspective that, like, no matter what I accomplish on this earth, it doesn't matter. My destiny is not to be successful in this industry. It's not anything but to love God. That is my purpose on this earth. That is what I'm created for, is to love God with my heart, soul, mind, and strength. It doesn't matter what people say about me or how far I go. And, you know, that's just always a reminder to me. And the last lyrics are, I'll give my last breath. Love is stronger than death. It's stronger than death. So no matter what happens to me on this earth, I just know that my ultimate destiny is to love him, and that's it. And I kind of had like a near-death experience when my kidneys were failing, and it was a very just depressing time. And, you know, I was like, God, what if I, you know, the fear of death is just on you, and you're like, am I meant to die like early? Like, what is going on? And it was so sad because, like, God, I had so many plans for my life. I had so much I wanted to do, you know. And when you're in that hospital bed, you just think about death all the time. And I just had to come to this conclusion that, like, stop chasing material things in this earth. Like, that's not for you. Your destiny is to love me. That is all I've created you to do, is just worship me and love me. So I'm getting emotional. I need to chill.
Girl, I'm emotional. I'm sitting here like getting teary-eyed. Like, I can see why people love you, because you're so authentic. You not only, like, you just live it. Like, you live the lyrics of your songs. Like, it's you like bleed the lyrics. It's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Could you give some last, you know, normally you focus on business, and that's fine. I just feel like whoever's listening to this podcast right now, they need some encouragement from you. They might be dealing with some health issues, and they don't know, like, should I really do this, or how can I do this because I have this setback or whatever. Could you just give some last words of encouragement to that person that needs to hear from somebody that's been through a difficult situation as yourself with health issues?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think the biggest thing to recognize is your identity is not wrapped up in what you can give to the world or the songs you write. Like, you know, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you. Like, focus on what is important. Focus on your heart. Be honest with your emotions. I know that grief is a process. You know, I felt every emotion of grief when I was going through my health crisis. And there was times I was angry. There was times I was really depressed. There's times that I just accepted it. And then I went backwards, and I got angry again, you know, and it's just like back and forth in no order, you know. And the worst thing I could have done is not be honest with my feelings and just pretend like, yeah, God, I trust you for sure, you know, when I know that's not true. And I know that I'm angry at him, and I'm confused as to why this is happening. You know, and so a lot of songs were birthed out of honesty. You know, I've told God, I'm like, I'm mad at you right now. I don't want to talk to you. And I've just been honest, and I think he can handle it. You know, I don't think God is small where he he already knows what we're thinking anyway. But a lot of times I've just been honest, and a lot of songs were birthed out of honesty. But the amazing part is God is so loving, and he can turn all our trials into something beautiful, and he can do so much if we just allow him to, you know, if we just surrender. Like, that is all we have to do, is just surrender to him and just be like, God, I'm good. Whatever you want to do with this part of my life, whatever you want to do with me, do it. Maybe it isn't music. Maybe he wants you to start smaller and you serve and pass out bulletins at your church. Maybe that's where he wants you to start. But surrender to the process of him molding you for your destiny, because you do have a destiny. To love him is your destiny, and you don't have to be doing music to do that. You can just be serving others. You can just be singing in your house. You can do anything, but allow him to promote you. You don't got to do anything except work hard and be humble, you know, but allow him to promote you, and don't be discouraged when it doesn't happen when you want to. I've felt that. I know that feeling. I know the frustration, but you need to trust in his timing, because he will give it to you if you are truly seeking his kingdom.
Awesome. Well, that's a great word. Thank you so much, Suzy, for being on. Where can our audience find you if they want to book a coaching call with you, a consultation with you, and where can they find your music? Could you share?
Yeah, absolutely. So for any consultation or anything, you can just go ahead and email me at zahnamusic@gmail.com. That's ZAHNA music@gmail.com. I offer different packages and different sessions. Just talk to me and let me know what you're looking for. I'll send you a questionnaire to find out where you're at in your music, and then we'll schedule something based on your needs. As for my music, I'm on literally every streaming site you could be on: iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, everything. I think my album is also sold on Amazon, or you can buy an autographed copy on my website, which is zahnaofficial.com, ZAHNA official.com. And there's a merch store on there where you can buy a whole bunch of stuff, and I personally ship it out. So just let me know, and we'll get you guys set up with something.
Yeah, get that autograph, guys. She's getting famous, so you want that autograph. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Zahna, for being on. Guys, have a great day. Stay stellar.